We all know someone who plays up their cold a little to get extra sympathy. Maybe we've even done it ourselves. But pretending to have a debilitating or life-threatening illness, that's totally different, not to mention illegal. Here are 10 horrible people who fake their illness. David Rose. A 24-year-old blogger by the name of David Rose suffered from cerebral palsy, leaving him deaf and quadriplegic. His blog, Dave on Wheels, inspired thousands, and even Kim Kardashian retweeted his posts online. He claimed he was able to write by using a Tobii computer with an infrared light that tracked eye movements. However, in 2012, his sister posted online that he had pneumonia and it would be his last post. After the alleged funeral, it was discovered that the photos on the blog were actually of a young man named Hunter Dunn. It was revealed that David never existed and that the blogger and his sister were actually a 53-year-old man named David Rhodes, who claimed he really only wanted to inspire people through Dave's story, though other sources claim he tried to contact young women through Dave. Beryl Rhines. In 2014, Beryl Rhines of Oklahoma and her young son went to the ER with an apparent fever. She told the staff that she was hosting a foreign exchange student from Africa and feared that they may have contracted Ebola from him. A team of specialists were immediately summoned to contain the virus, and the pair were whisked off to isolation. Nurses discovered that Rhines was intoxicated, and during her physical examination, she faked seizures and even headbutted a nurse. It was discovered that Rhines made the whole thing up and was arrested for assault and disturbing the peace. John Caltabiano Jr. In upstate New York, John Caltabiano Jr. claimed he'd been injured on the job and had been rendered completely blind. He applied for workers' compensation and received thousands of dollars over the next 2 years. It was in 2010 that investigators caught him driving his pickup truck, a task that would have naturally been impossible were he actually blind. He was charged with fraud, sent to prison for 5 years, and was ordered to repay the money he stole from the government. Alicia Kelly. Alicia Kelly from South Carolina told friends and family that her 15-year-old daughter was suffering from bone cancer. The worst part, she even convinced the daughter that she was dying. Alicia and her husband lied for 2 years, taking money from their community under the guise of donations for their daughter's fake treatment. Their scam only ended when police found the nearly mummified remains of Alicia's father in a trailer. He had died 2 years earlier, and they were still collecting his Social Security checks. The Kellys pled guilty to a number of charges, including child abuse and swindling. Alicia was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Jessica Vega. In 2010, Jessica Vega of New York entered bridal shop Bliss Bridal when the owner noticed her short hair and apparent rush. Vega told the owner of her battle with leukemia and how badly she wanted to marry before she died. Touched by her story, the store provided her with a free dress, shoes, and a wig. When members of the community heard the news, they helped to provide catering, photographers, and even money for a honeymoon. Months after the wedding, Vega's husband found out about the scam and called the owner of the shop to tell her that Vega had duped everyone. She was arrested shortly after, and her husband filed for divorce. Chalice Zeitner. In 2010, Chalice Zeitner from Arizona discovered she was pregnant. She was unable to afford the child's care or an abortion, so she came up with a plan. Late-stage abortions cost around $6,000 and are only funded by the state if the pregnancy endangers the mother's life. She forged documents claiming she had stage 4 abdominal cancer and needed to seek treatment in Boston. She convinced her OBGYN and the procedure was performed. Doctors contacted the physician in Boston, but he had never heard of Chalice. She was brought up on charges of defrauding the healthcare system as well as stealing thousands of dollars from a charity, all in the name of her fake illness. Jami Lynn Toler. In 2011 in Phoenix, Arizona, Jami Lynn Toler told her boss and family that she was suffering from breast cancer. She claimed she needed a double mastectomy to save her life, but couldn't afford it. With the help of friends and family, she raised over $8,000 through online donations. Suspicions were raised, however, when a doctor offered to perform the surgery for free, but she refused. It was later discovered that she didn't have cancer but wanted the money for breast augmentation surgery and paid the surgeon cash to perform the operation just a couple of months later. She was sentenced to a year in jail and ordered to pay back the 17 people she defrauded. Ashley Kirilow. In 2008, an Ontario woman discovered a lump in her breast. Ashley Kirilow told friends and family she had terminal breast cancer, which spread through her body. She began a charity called Change for the Cure and raised nearly $20,000. What she didn't tell anyone, however, was that the lump she'd had removed was benign. She waxed her head and eyebrows and plucked her eyelashes to make it appear as if she'd been through treatment. Her father grew suspicious, as did volunteers working for her charity, who then contacted authorities. Ashley was charged with fraud and sentenced to 10 months of house arrest and 100 hours of community service. She was also put in a psychiatric ward. Alan Knight. In South Wales, Alan Knight volunteered to care for his elderly neighbor who was suffering from dementia. It was eventually discovered that Knight had stolen $60,000 from the old man's life savings and forged a new will, leaving him as the sole beneficiary. When police found out, Knight claimed he had become quadriplegic from falling and breaking his neck, and that he suffered from seizures that left him in intermittent comas for 2 weeks at a time. He was caught on CCTV walking around the supermarket and going on vacation. He admitted to 19 counts of forgery and theft and was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. Cynthia Smith. In Burlington, Cynthia Smith's family set up a GoFundMe account called Please Help Us Save Cindy's Life when she was diagnosed with a rare neurological disorder that gradually stole her ability to see, speak, and function on her own. For 3 years, the family accepted donations amounting to nearly $130,000. A local paper found the family's story suspicious, especially after they couldn't find any proof of treatments or hospital stays, so they informed the police. They found that Cindy had been faking her illness, tricking not only her family but the entire community. She was charged with fraud and ordered to pay back everything that was donated. Well, these are some truly awful people. We hope you enjoyed hearing about some of these insane stories. Please subscribe to TheRichest for more awesome videos daily, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up too. Thanks for watching!